So if you're thinking about purchasing a mid-rise, high-rise luxury condo here in Houston, Texas, well, today we're going to be going over some pros and cons of what you should know before you purchase. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. All right, so starting off with pro number one is just the safety, right? Anyone that lives in a mid-rise, high-rise condo, they can attest to this, that safety is, you're safe here at a condo, you know? So usually at most buildings, whether it's an older building or a newer building here in Houston, you know, you're gonna have a key fob or a code to get in the front door or even the gates. You're gonna have a concierge, somebody at the front desk, to let people up to your floor or to call you and give you notice that someone is there to see you, or even if there's a Uber delivery, right? They'll call you to let you know, hey, we have a delivery here, can they come up to your floor? So safety is a big pro when living in a mid-rise, high-rise condo, right? Now, the con number one, since we're talking about safety, is, I mean, you never hear about someone, you know, on the news or anything, going into a condo, going by concierge, going up to a floor and, you know, obviously stealing someone's belongings in their unit. But what does happen at some buildings, of course anywhere, where the parking garage, sometimes cars do get vandalized, whether it's tires stolen, or when catalytic converters were a big thing, you know, some people were somehow sneaking into the garage, stealing some catalytic converters from cars. So that would be the only con. But of course, you're in the city, you're living close to the city. Of course, there's crime everywhere. But I would say that would be the one thing that could happen, right? It doesn't happen all the time, but it could happen where someone goes into the garage and vandalize your personal vehicle. So pro number two is, you know, living in a condo, mid-rise, high-rise, luxury condo, you have a lock and leave leisure, meaning a lot of people that do live in these condos, you know, they're either young professionals or their job requires, you know, long hours. Like in this building here, a lot of medical professionals live in this building, you know, and the medical center is right here, right behind me, where, you know, they work long hours, long shifts, so they just want to come home, lock and leave, you know. Also, if you're an empty nester or maybe you travel a lot for business, you know, and you're going to be gone for some time, weeks at a time or even a month at a time, you can just lock and leave. Don't worry about anything on your condo, maintenance, yard, watering the grass, anything. I mean, you have that lock and leave leisure at any time, and of course your unit is going to be safe, which is nice. But yeah, going back to what I was saying is, of course, you have medical professionals like in this building, because a lot of the mid-rise, high-rise buildings around the Houston, you have the medical center, the Galleria, and in downtown Houston. So it's very rare that you're gonna have big families that live in a condo, right? Because which brings me to con number two is your space. When you buy a condo, it is similar to an apartment and your space is limited, right? So you could have a one-bedroom condo going, like, again, like for this building here, a one-bedroom condo could range from $280,000 to the low 300s, just depending on, of course, the level that you're on, what direction you're facing, because those are all premiums when you're buying a condo. But the space is limited. So going back, that one-bedroom, around $280,000 to the low 300s, you're looking at a maximum of 800 square feet, maybe under than that, 700, six and some change on the square footage. So that would be a con, of course, would be the space that you get. But again, many people live in these luxury mid-rise, high-rises because of other things which we're gonna get into shortly. But yeah, one of the cons would be the space, because you could purchase a house in the suburbs for that same amount, small three bedroom, 2-bath with a backyard, decent backyard, you know, nothing too crazy, for around the same price that you would get for a one-bedroom unit with 800 square feet or less, 600, 700 square feet here in the city of Houston. All right, now pro number three is, of course, the views. You get views when you live in the mid-rise, high-rise luxury condo. This building here is a high-rise. So actually, let's go check out, adjust this camera here, the views on this one. So this building is in the medical center, and this floor is of course like the clubhouse floor. But if we come out, you can see the views here of the medical center right over here. You have a golf course here. You have Herman Park here, Miller Outdoor Theaters right here. So like on 4th of July, there's a big fireworks show, and New Year's right here as well too. So you have Herman Park, Miller Outdoor Theater. You see that brown thing right there, that little rooftop. That's Miller Outdoor Theater. And you have the park right here. So there's the trail right there to Herman Park right in the middle that you can bike ride. But yeah, you get views, you get views, and depending on which side you live on, like on this building, if you live on the north side, you'll be getting downtown view. So you'll be waking up to the downtown, nothing obstructing your view, nice view of downtown. If you get a corner unit, you'll be getting a panoramic view of the medical center, Herman Park, and also downtown as well too, and the Galleria. So one of the pros is the views. This is pro number 3, the views that you get. Now, the con would be, of course, you have no backyard space, right? A lot of people don't complain about that because when you're living here and you want to be here, you know you're not going to get no backyard space. So a lot of people here, or even in other buildings, they have pets, and every morning you see them going down to the first floor with their pet, taking them for a walk to do their business. Some of the buildings, the newer buildings, they have little dog parks that they can go and play and stuff. But yeah, you have to take your dog down the elevator, outside, let them do their business, come back in. Sometimes it's 3 times a day. I don't know how many times you take your dog out, but morning, lunch, and evening time. And if you're working, then you have to have a dog walker come up to your unit, take them down as well too. But that is a con. Con number 3 is, of course, no backyard space. So you have the views, but you have no backyard space. So you do have to go up and down. But I haven't had anyone really complain about that because the pros overtake that con, right? Because that's what you're paying for. You're paying for this high-rise luxury living with the views. So the backyard, I don't see it's a big issue, right? And if this is your first time to the channel, my name is Michael Gonzalez with Living in Houston Today with Michael Gonzalez. I lived in Houston my entire life. So whether you're looking to move now or the next few months, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, schedule a Zoom call so we can go over the details and make sure your move is as smooth as possible. Now, pro number 4, right? We're on pro number 4 is the convenience. The convenience when you live in a mid-rise, high-rise here in Houston, that's closer to the city, like this one's in Herman Park Medical Center. You have some downtown, you have some in the Galleria area, and some throughout Montrose area as well too. But you have the convenience, you're close to everything. You're like right here. I mean, from this building, you can Uber to the Texans game within 10 minutes, right? You can Uber to the Houston Rockets right downtown in 10 minutes. You can Uber to any of the nice luxury restaurants right here in town, 10, 15 minutes away. I mean, to get to River Oaks District or where there's a lot of restaurants, 15 minutes, so you have the convenience, you're close to everything. When you live in a mid-rise, high-rise condo in any of those main parts of Houston, Galleria, Medical Center, Herman Park, Montrose area, or even downtown, you have that convenience where you can Uber anywhere, right? And you're close to everything. So if you're not a big Uber person, I mean, you can drive there within a few minutes, Of course, when you live in the suburbs, you're driving 30, 45 minutes just to go to the Texans game or even longer. But the convenience is that you're close to everything. Now with convenience, you have, well, the con number 4, pro number 4 is the convenience, but con number 4 would be you're close to your neighbor, You're living in a condo, you do have a neighbor right next to you, like an apartment, right? They're right next to you. But I don't hear a lot of complaints because these walls are built so thick that you have that privacy. You can be listening to music, you can be, of course, not overly loud, but you can listen to music, a good volume. You can be watching a nice movie. I mean, no complaints, unless you're just having a party of a bunch of people Well, yeah, some buildings have, no loud noise after 10 p.m. or anything like that. But the con, number 4, would be just you are close to your neighbor, right there. And if you have a neighbor that's loud, or who knows, who your neighbor is. But, when you purchase a condo, you live there versus an apartment, you're only leasing for a year, right? But when you purchase a condo, like people in this building live here for 10, 15, or when the building was built, residents live here. This is their home. This is where they come home to. This is, they go to work, they come home, they sleep. So, sometimes you don't know who that neighbor is or if that neighbor is going to be loud or not when you purchase a condo. Of course, you can ask before, but yeah, that is a con, is you are close to the neighbor. But I wouldn't say it's a big issue for a lot of people that do live in mid-rise, high-rise. They'll tell you, these walls, like I said, are built pretty thick that you shouldn't have to worry about noise unless someone's just partying all the time. Well, obviously that would be an issue, and then you can complain to your HOA. Now, pro number 5 is you have no maintenance. You have no yard maintenance. Like all this right here, all this greenery, all these plants, these palm trees, the pool being cleaned every morning, the barbecue grill right now. You can see a guy out there. Where is he at? He's behind there, right there. He's cleaning the barbecue pit, right? So when you're living in a mid-rise, high-rise, you're paying for that as well. You have no maintenance. You don't have to wake up every Sunday or Saturday, go cut the yard for 3 hours. Like pro number 2 is lock and leave. You can get up, come down, like right now, you can go down to the pool, do some laps in the morning. You can grill at any time. Once you're done with the grill, you just head up to your unit. But you have people here, you have staff at the buildings that take care of all the maintenance. So you don't have to worry about cutting shrubs, cutting trees, a tree falling on your, on your house or anything. That's the leisure of living in a mid-rise, high-rise luxury building, is there is no maintenance for you. The only thing the only thing that you are responsible for is the interior of your unit, right? So your AC furnace that's in your unit in the closet usually are in the attic, or the condenser. Some older buildings include all that, but like the newer buildings, you're responsible for that. But yeah, you don't have to worry about no yard maintenance. Literally just go, right? You don't have to worry about any of that. If you're always working, you're busy, always traveling. This is why that's what the luxury high-rise living is for, but you don't have to worry about cleaning anything, no pool, no yard. And it's really nice, you get used to it. So then when you do that change, which I've had some people, they've lived in the high-rise building for many, many years, then they go out to the suburbs and they have to change because they have to handle all that exterior house maintenance, cleaning, power washing, something breaks down, a sprinkler head breaks, they got to go out and fix that, versus here, you don't got to worry about any of that, which is really nice. Now, the con for that, con number 5, because we were just talking about the pro number 5, which was of course no maintenance, but the con number 5 would be the HOA. You have HOA fees, right? These HOA fees pay for the staffing, all the people on site that are cleaning every morning, cleaning the halls, cleaning the bathrooms, cleaning the gym, cleaning everything, right? So you have the HOA fees that could range from, depending on the building, $300-400 a month to up to in the thousands, right? It could be thousands of dollars a month. It just depends on the building and of course where you're purchasing as well too. But those fees do range, and those are monthly, right? They're not yearly, those are monthly fees that you have to pay. But the good thing is that those fees, if you think about it, it offsets, all the maintenance that you would have to do on your traditional home. Those are all taken care of already. You're paying that monthly fee, $400 or $500 a month, bam, and everything's taken care of. You have your pool right here, you have your barbecue grill, you have pool tables, which we'll get into in a second, but your HOA fee pays for all that you don't have to do none of that work. So it offsets, right? So if you look at it, it offsets that. And of course, that's why a lot of people do love the mid-rise, high-rise luxury living, because they don't have to do none of that. You know, they have more time to do things, they have more time to spend with themselves or their significant other, or just traveling. Now, pro number 6 that we're getting into, which is a real important one for people. Let me get a drink of water really quick. All right, pro number 6 would be the amenities. The amenities that you get at the building. Of course, every building is different, right? This is when you, which we'll get into in a second, but the amenities, like I said, you have the barbecue grill, you have the pool, you have, like here you have ping pong tables that you can play, you have a pool table. Below me is a full gym. They have a full gym, free weights, squat rack. They have a sauna, a steam room in this building. A lot of the new buildings have the same amenities as well with your workout room. You also have your dog park, and you have like this clubhouse. You can rent out this whole thing, right? And most newer buildings have that, where you can rent out the clubhouse if you wanted to have a party, birthday party, invite people, have, you know, a bar and things like that. You can rent out that clubhouse, but you have the amenities at any time, right? Of course, they do close, like the pool here closes at 10 p.m., but you can come down anytime. You have this. And again, you don't have to do no maintenance. You don't have to clean the pool, put the chemicals in the pool. You don't have to do none of that, which is really nice too. You have valet parking, right? A lot of the newer buildings, they have valet parking. So you can just pull in. You don't got to pay because you're a resident here. You pull in, they park your car, and you come in. You have the concierge service. They take all your Amazon packages. You know, they send you an email, hey, you have a package. You come pick it up. What else? But yeah, I mean, it's just really nice. Of course, with the valet, when you have guests, they probably do have to pay some type of fee, just depending on the building. Now, one thing I did not mention was, depending on the building, the age of the building. If it's older building, you're gonna be paying a higher fee because there's a lot more maintenance cost into it. Newer building, the fee should be a little bit lower because the building's a little bit newer, right? But you do have a lot of amenities. Now, the older buildings, the amenities might be not as luxury as some of the newer buildings because they're old buildings. I know some buildings downtown, they don't have a balcony. You know, you can buy a $300,000-$400,000 unit, but you have no balcony. You do have a view, no balcony. Your gym might be down in the basement downtown, so you're not looking with beautiful views. Like down here on the 6th floor, when you're working out, you can be running on the treadmill right here, it's right below us, and you're looking over the park. Some of the older buildings, the treadmill is just probably in the basement, and there's a wall and a TV that you're looking at. So those are all the things you got to consider. But again, people buy those condos because of the location, right? So everyone is different. Everyone is different on what they're looking for. But pro number 6 is the amenities, which is really nice. Like right now, you can come down, have your coffee, do some work. They actually have conference rooms downstairs as well too, that you can work. You can rent out those conference rooms, have your meetings. If you're self-employed, whatever you need to do, you have those. And some buildings like this one, the concierge is 24/7. There's somebody at the front desk 24/7. Even after hours, somebody's sitting there letting people in the front door. So that security is there for you. And that's what you're paying for in your HOA fees, right? Now, the con, I would say, you know, connecting with amenities, is you are limited on guests, on how many people you can have over, right? It's not like a house where you can have a party, invite all your family over every single weekend, and people parking on the street and you just playing music in the back. You are limited on visitors because remember, people do live here. People live here, this is their home. So like for the pool, like here on this building, you have a limit of guests that you can bring during the busy season, like in the summer. You know, you can't have 10 people here, 10 of your friends here, 10 family members, which it is a con, you know, because like for myself, I have a big family, but you're maybe limited to a certain amount of guests, maybe 4 guests per unit. So some people don't like that, but you got, as a owner, condo owner, you kind of understand that because you wouldn't want, like in this building, there's 394 units, 394 owners. Imagine if all of them brought like 20 guests every week, and this would be crazy. It would be a madhouse, right? So you understand that as an owner, like, you know, there is a limit on guests. Now, is it once in a while you might have your family come over one? Yeah, maybe you can. But for the most part, there is a limit. Now, if you wanted to, like I said earlier, like rent this place out of the clubhouse, you can rent it out. Even though you're an owner, you are going to have to pay some type of fee, because remember, once you're done with using the clubhouse at any building, the cleaning crew, the people that work here, they have to come and clean it up. You know, they have to clean up everything that you've done. So, but a lot of people don't complain about that. I mean, if you're going to have a party, I mean, you pay the fee and you have a great time with your family. You don't got to worry about anything. They take care of everything. But that is con number 6, would be just the limit on guests. But a lot of the cons for people that do live in high-rise condos, they understand that, because this is what they're living for. I mean, paying for is to live in this luxury building, have these amenities, have that leisure. So the HOA fee, they're fine with that. And of course, just some of the rules and restrictions on that. Now, those were 6 pros and cons of living in a mid-rise, high-rise luxury condo here in Houston, Texas. Those are my pros and cons, my top 6, and that's coming from someone that has lived in a condo for, you know, 8 years, you know, so I know this is not just something I just looked up, but this is actually from someone that has experienced that. The other thing, this is a note, not a pro and con. The other thing that you should consider or know is that there's HOA. And when you have HOA, you need to be involved in that. You need to be involved in that, because remember, the board members on the HOA are people that live here. And I've heard some stories on some other buildings where, you know, when the homeowners are not involved in voting for certain things and voting for this and voting for that, well, the board, sometimes they'll vote and things will happen without the homeowners knowing. Money's being spent from the reserves that you pay for because you guys didn't vote, or homeowners didn't vote, so then the board made that executive decision. There's still a voting system, but the majority of them voted for something that maybe you didn't agree to, or they paid for something on the building that wasn't needed at the time, right? So I would just say, just being involved in the HOA meetings, being involved if you do purchase a condo, being involved in that is important. You know, is important because you're a homeowner, so you want to make sure you know what's going on. And believe it or not, everyone is so busy with their lives and work that a lot of people don't attend the HOA meetings. They don't even care what's going on, and that's why I bring in this point, is that you should. You should care what's going on. You should know what's going on. You should know what decisions are being made. You should know what big expenses are, you know, going to be coming up that need to be taken care of, that's going to be pulling out of the reserves. That, again, your HOA not only pays for the staffing, the fees, and people that work here, the management, it also goes into a pot of reserves too for future things. And you want to always make sure that a building has healthy reserves. Because if there's not healthy reserves for, if something big happens, a hurricane comes and knocks off all the units on the roof, and you got to get those replaced and you don't have any reserves, well, now they're going to have to divide that expense amongst all the owners to get that done. And now not only do you have your regular monthly HOA, now you have what they call an assessment that's divided because of that expense. So you do want to look at the reserves when purchasing a condo. And every condo is different. Every building is different, right? Every building is like right here, there's a building right here. You can see it there. That's a luxury condo as well, you know, and those prices are a little different than these prices. It goes building by building. It doesn't go by area. Like when you buy a home, you look at comps in the area or comps in the subdivision in the suburbs. It goes building by building because every building is different. Every building has different amenities, has different views, just has different things. So the comps are run within that building. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, guys, as I mentioned earlier, you know, if you're looking at purchasing a mid-rise, high-rise condo here in Houston, feel free to reach out, shoot me a text, give me a call, schedule a Zoom call. If you're relocating from another state and you want to know more, feel free to reach out to me. I've helped many people purchase a condo here in Houston. People from Canada, people from other states from up north, they came, they wanted to buy a condo. I helped them make their move as smooth as possible, show them all their different buildings depending on what their needs are. So feel free to reach out to me. I'll love to help you, whether you're moving now or in the next few months. Give me a call, shoot me a text if you have questions. I'd love to make that move as smooth as possible. All my contact information is below. And if you like this video, then you're definitely gonna like this one. And I'll see you guys in the next one.